Happy Friday. We are live and well. So this is Sonia, otherwise known as your dietitian with a mission, where I help people find health and purpose in their life. If we are meeting for the first time, please say hello. I am live all over the place. So we're live right now on my personal Facebook profile, in my Facebook group, my Facebook business page, over on YouTube, and for the very first time on LinkedIn. I am super excited. So if you guys are watching from LinkedIn, show me some love. Let me know what's going on over on LinkedIn. This is my first live over there. So it's kind of an unknown territory, but love to see how all of these platforms can connect. I mean, is that the coolest thing ever? Now, if somebody can figure out how we can get Instagram and TikTok and everything to run from StreamYard, we will be good. Otherwise, you have to use a phone. And, I think I'm still trying to figure out where to put the phone in relationship to the computer, technology problems. So hello, everyone that's jumping on. Hi. Yeah, it's kind of a fun hat for Friday, right? Fridays are all about fun. So you guys, please let me know where you're watching from, what you're up to today, and we're going to have some fun. Fridays are for fun, so we're going to get into a little trivia. I'm going to test your knowledge today. Usually I'm talking about a nutrition topic, and this is kind of related to a nutrition topic, but really what this is fun trivia, fun facts, 8 of them to be exact, that you may or may not be aware of related to the importance of your gut. So I would love to know from you guys one fact that you know about the importance of the health of your gut. Just shout them out. Throw one at me. And my comments are a little delayed, so I won't maybe see them here when you're live with me, but we'll be able to come back around and obviously have a little interaction with you. So this big topic of mine, or this big interest of mine in terms of gut health, really was born, and this was my Facebook post yesterday, was born out of necessity. Now, I've always known it's very important, and as a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and certified diabetes educator, spent a lot of time learning about the importance of your gut, right? But it's not really until you experience, pardon my French, I'm going to drop a word for you today, some shit personally in your life, that you really realize the value, right? Oh, yay, I see somebody from LinkedIn. All right, cool. It's working over there. This is so awesome. Do you know that before I get into this, I had to sit on a waiting list for 6 months to be able to go live on LinkedIn. So I feel like it's a very, very big victory in my life. So hi, everyone over on LinkedIn. So it's obviously a very, very important part of our bodies, right? We understand that. Okay, yep, second brain, 90% of serotonin stored in the gut. Y'all are taking some of my trivia for today. That's great, awesome. Let's see, eat whole foods, raw foods. Hi, awesome, great. You guys are so smart. All right, so we're gonna talk about 8 different things that you may or may not know about the importance of your gut. Okay, so you've probably heard that your gut, maybe you haven't, maybe you're hearing this for the first time as well too, that your gut is made up of almost 40 trillion microorganisms. Like, that's such a big number, it's hard to even wrap your head around. Just to put that in perspective. So let's think about, DNA, right? We're made of DNA. So this is trivia tip number 1 for you here. We're all made up of genetics, right? I have DNA, you have DNA, and our DNA is very similar to that of our family, right? Our mother, our father, our, other family members. But here's a really interesting statistic for you. So here's number 1. So the genes in your body are outnumbered by the genes in your microbiome by a ratio of, this is crazy, 150 to 1.2. So that small part of your body, I mean, depending how big you are, but relatively speaking, the gut is only part of us, right? Has more genes in it than the rest of our body. Is that crazy or what? Really, really cool. All right, so there's trivia tip number 1 there for you. So a lot of genetics down in our gut. And what's interesting is the behavior in our gut, of course, affects our genetic expression. So you guys have heard me talk in the past about genetic expression being more important than your DNA, right? We can't change our DNA. What we can change is the way our genes are expressing themselves. So the gut is a very, very important part of that. All right. So there is number one for you. Number two, we always hear about bacteria in our gut, right? So yesterday, I went and dropped off a gut health test because I told you in the very beginning I've been through some stuff. I won't swear twice. Personally, I went through I have Epstein-Barr. For those of you that don't know my story over on LinkedIn, I have Epstein-Barr, which when you have Epstein-Barr, you tend to have more gut issues. Like even if you eat perfectly, and let's be real, who's perfect ever, right? But you're always going to be more, what's the word I want to look for? Like more of a magnet for gut problems. Okay. So I went through some stuff myself. So therefore, yesterday I mailed off a test that really looked at the depth of what's been going on in my gut. So we'll see how far I've come in this healing journey. So keep you posted on that. But we always hear about the microbiome, obviously, and we hear about bacteria, good bacteria, but it's much more than bacteria. So here's number two for you. It's made up of yeast, fungus, and little mini viruses. So viruses aren't all bad. So sometimes when we hear virus, especially right now, right, what do we think? Bad virus, right? So it's not all bad stuff, but here's tip number two, or trivia point number two for you. There is yeast, fungi, little viruses, and actually a few more things too. There were some big words that I honestly just can't say, and I won't even attempt to say them for you. Okay, so it's not just bacteria. Number three, the microbiome has more diversity than the Amazon rainforest. I've never been to the Amazon rainforest, but all I've ever heard my entire life is that there is nothing more diverse than what lives in a rainforest. Okay, so there's number three for you. Number four is that somebody said this here, but I just want to elaborate a little bit more. So it's your second brain, and 90% of your serotonin is in your gut. So what happens then if we have, sometimes when we have people that have depression or anxiety or low energy or things that you think might be more related to your brain, a lot of times it's a problem in your gut. And so before taking the antidepressant or the anxiety medicine or any of these things, you might want to talk to a practitioner about what's going on in your gut. Look to the health of your gut before taking the medicine for your brain, right? Because there's a huge connection. They call it the gut-brain axis or the gut-brain relationship. It really is the second brain. Okay, so this one was really interesting. We'll get a little bit more technical as we go. We talked about, family and genetics, right? Because you've heard all throughout time that if your parents have this, then you might have this too, right? And we know that genetic behavior can be changed through environmental choices that we make or don't make, good or bad, right? So it's like light switches that you can flip on and off. And then that can be said too, like, for example, if you have, let's use the example of identical twins, they have the same DNA, but if one, let's say, becomes vegan, lives, in a place where there's a lot of sunshine, is outdoors, very active, is a really healthy weight, whereas maybe the other one moves, to some place where it's really smoggy, eats and drinks a lot, just doesn't have very good behaviors in life, right? They could have completely different lifestyle habits. Therefore, one could be very lean and mean, and the other one could be very obese, right? So we see differences, even though they have the same DNA, their genes are expressing themselves in different ways. So that's part one of this. And the other thing that's so unique here is because of their lifestyles, we'll call it the ecology or the ecosystem of their microbiome or their gut is completely different, even though their DNA is the same. So your DNA has nothing to do with your microbiome. So you are not, like, today, the microbiome I have is not the same as when I was born. So our behaviors not only influence our DNA, but they influence our gut microbiome or the genes within our gut. How cool is that? So in other words, what I'm trying to tell you is the moral of the story is this, that if you live a healthy, good lifestyle and you do all these things that you should do, you obviously are going to have better genetic expression and a better gut microbiome. Okay, so simple there. Okay, so we talked about serotonin, we talked about DNA. Let's see, a couple more here for you. Did you know, and this is a pretty high number. So we talk about, especially as a dietitian, what I was taught in school, and for those of you that are dietitians, or I know I have a lot of connections over on LinkedIn that are dietitians as well, we're taught calories in, calories out, right? I mean, that's still important, of course, that always will be. However, what's really interesting is they can look at your gut microbiome with 90% certainty and tell if a person is lean or if a person is obese or has the predisposition to be obese. 90% certainty. So when people are struggling to lose weight, and I've been through this myself because of the Epstein-Barr, I developed hypothyroidism. I have a story a mile long. Who doesn't, right? And so part of that is the gut issues. Well, so we can look at why a person is not losing weight. And yes, we can tell them to exercise more, and we can tell them to, de-stress and to eat the right foods and watch how much they're eating, reduce their carbs, reduce their sugar, reduce, right? Well, what happens if they're doing all those things already? Well, as we know, because there's such a relationship between the gut and what we look like, if you are not losing weight, there is a very good chance there could be some issues within your gut. So the moral of the story is this: do all those things for weight loss. Yes, I will never say don't do those things, but look beyond the surface. Look at your gut as one of the biggest reasons you may or may not be losing weight. Okay. And then here's a really sad fact for you. So this is the last one on the list, number 8. We went through those pretty quickly. Number 8 is kind of a sign of the times. It is, unfortunately, just look around. I mean, we're dealing with a pandemic right now, but let's just look at our world in general. We have a world that is toxic, is stressed beyond capacity, sits on this all day long, doesn't sleep enough, doesn't eat the right food, and then the food we eat, unfortunately, doesn't contain the nutrition that it once did. So it's like a domino effect. We have all of these different things happening at once. We'll call it a shitstorm of stuff, right? So it's very difficult for our microbiomes to be as diverse as they really should be. So shrinking in diversity related to all of those things. And then, of course, especially now with what's going on with all the quarantine we've been through, we've been forced to stay indoors even more than we ever have, right? We're trapped essentially. And where I live in Minnesota, it's hard to get outside half of the year because of the weather. So we have all these external forces kind of coming at us that are making our microbiomes less diverse. And therefore, all of these things that I've talked about, unfortunately, when you put all this stuff together, it's more difficult to manage that ecosystem down there. So I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news on that one, but it's just something that I think we're starting to hear more about. For me personally, I had to walk through and experience some of the bad side effects from having we'll call it out of balance gut, to be able to truly speak to things that can help people. And so there are a lot of solutions, and that's for another live, but I just thought it would be fun to get on here live and talk about some fun facts that you may or may not know about your gut. So as you can see, it plays a very, very important part of who we are and our health, and even our health and longevity for years to come. So if you have a tummy ache, it's not literally just having a tummy ache. There could be a reason why you're having a tummy ache. So there are a lot of great professionals out there. Certainly I can help you. And there's a lot of, physicians in the functional medicine space that, we all kind of do different things in being able to play a part in your gut healing. If you suspect that you have some gut issues going on, reach out to me. Certainly I'd be happy to help you kind of filter through some of it. If it's something I can help you with, certainly I'm here to help. Otherwise, if it's more appropriate for you to speak with a physician or a functional medicine practitioner, obviously I know when it's appropriate and out of my practice as a dietitian, or out of my scope of practice, I should say. But there are a lot of different things that you can do just by cleaning up your lifestyle and we'll do a whole nother live on this, that can really make a big difference in the overall health of your microbiome. So I share a lot of information related to nutrition. If you guys are over on LinkedIn, connect with me. I'll be sure to send you my link to my group here on Facebook, where I share a lot of recipes and share a lot of other content related to health and healing, the latest in terms of supplementation and things that are really revolutionary that have come into my world and played a big part in my own personal healing. I will never speak of something that I would not personally put into my own body. So you will never hear me recommend anything I have not tried personally. If you are here watching on my personal Facebook profile and you'd like to join my group, just drop the word group down below, or regardless of where you're watching from, drop the word group down below, and I will make sure to get you an invite to the group where we share all kinds of information on a daily basis. So if you guys found value in the information today, go ahead and share this with others in your network that this might be helpful for, or invite them to come along next time I am live here. And I'll be doing more lives, especially now that I'm able to be live over on LinkedIn. Yay! So I hope you guys found this fun. I just thought we'd keep it light and entertaining here on a Friday afternoon. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, and we'll come back at you live with some great information again next week. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.